Good morning, everybody. Uh, Jerry and I are going to be the ones here today. Steve is sick and was also working late last night, so he's not here. Dennis is going to his daughter-in-law's, I think he said, and Bill is off in either Italy or Thailand. I can't remember which way he was going first, but he's in one of those, so he's not here. So anyway, we're the only two here, so this might get bad real quick. I don't know. Anyway, Jerry, you want to tell us who's in the chat?
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We got Wigwag, Steve 87. I don't know if he's still here. DES Media Productions, Dave, Grandpa Rails, Chuck at CDP, Lee Enfield in the Law, Steve Chowders, Mom and Sons. I saw Rob T-Man, Gerald. Yeah. Where'd he go? I gotta scroll down. Chris Brew. Is he now? Chris Brew?
I don't see.
Is Allie here? I thought I saw Allie.
I haven't seen her this morning.
Oh, I see Tainer Man, Deep Run Mike, Gerald Stewart, Indian Head Valley. See you?
Yeah, that's Wilmer.
Dennis is here?
Yeah, Dennis popped his head in. Leaving us in the lurch.
CB&Q and Thomas Moore. Leave anybody out? John Tanzillo. I think that's everybody.
Sparky's here. Morning, Sparky.
Yeah.
Who else did I see pop in? I thought I saw somebody else pop in, but
yeah.
Anyway, Gerald Stewart's here. Good morning. Anyway, we don't as usual, don't have anything to talk about, but trains or any kind of subject you guys want to talk about this morning. So we'll probably get more of you in the chat. Get your questions or anything you want to talk about quicker than we do when we got 4 or 5 of us on here. But Nathan Blade just popped in. Hey, Nathan.
Hi, Nathan.
But anyway, yeah, it's business as usual, model trains. Jerry, have you got started on yours yet?
No. Just haven't had time. I've been working a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I know. This whole last month, it was one thing after another. Started with the gallbladder surgery, and then my neck was really bad, and I got over that, and then I caught the flu. I get out of that, and I messed up a tooth. I'm not sure what I did to it, but it's really sore, hard to eat, and it's just one thing after another. I haven't been able to get on even keel, so I haven't done a whole lot either.
Yeah. Hey, Dwight Curley. Good morning.
Good morning, Dwight. But anyway, yeah, it's like I say, one thing after another, and trying to find time. Plus, I just can't stand and be on my feet for 3-4 hours at a time anymore. So I have to come downstairs. I can go up there for a couple hours, and I'll come downstairs for a couple hours. Well, you don't get much done when you're doing that.
Yeah, Dennis wants to know if I made any decisions on what I want to do yet. What do you mean? Like, just a switch in layout. That's about it, really. I mean, industry-wise, I'm just going to do like a scrapyard, a team track, and maybe Transflow. A couple other businesses. I don't know what they'll be. Yeah, that's about it. Nothing really, no big decisions to make, really. It's nothing crazy. Bernard C., what's up? Good morning.
Oh, let's see.
Wigwag stood in line for 3 hours.
Chuck, you are so correct on that statement. It's not for sissies. The bad thing is, it doesn't matter if you're a sissy or not, you're going to get old.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the alternative is not any good either. So,
scroll back.
Okay, Dennis wants to know. He wants to know what kind of track, what code rail, and what era, like in what time frame. And get more from her.
Track Walters code 83 era. Modern.
More modern.
Yeah, modern. I guess Yeah, I guess modern. Yeah, I get them all the time, JD.
Yes, they do it on here. I've got them from my other channel, which I haven't done anything on in a year. I need to do an update for it. But yeah, it gets annoying after a while. But what are you going to do? If you're using the platform for free, you got to put up with some of that kind of stuff. It's like we watch shows on stream shows on the TV, and if it's a free site, you're going to have to put up with commercials. And even if it's not a free site, sometimes you got to put up with commercials. So
yeah,
somebody always selling something.
So Jack came in high from over there in the Netherlands, right? Denmark.
High with H and H. Is that how you know
Yeah.
that? Yeah, I believe Netherlands. I believe, or is it Denmark? Hi, let us know. Is it Denmark or Netherlands?
Yeah. So Dennis had another question. Is there a prototype you plan on using as a main power? No. No.
Well, that way you can run whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean,
you see
yeah. No, not really. Yeah, it's just going to be whatever, I guess. I don't know.
I don't believe you, Mark. I don't believe you.
Hot Dog Pilot, there's Andy. He's in chat. Yeah, I don't like, like Dennis and Heath and those guys. They're sitting there plotting their whole thing, their whole railroad. You too, Claude. Like you have this. I don't have an idea. I mean, other than
well, I had a general idea what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
my railroad started, and then I just built it.
Yeah.
The section I just finished putting on. I knew I was going to do an upper deck there, but it's twice as big as I originally planned. To my detriment, I'm sure later down the road.
Why did you keep growing? Like because you had the room?
Yeah, I mean, I had the basic things planned out of what I wanted to do, but like where this last piece of the upper deck is, it was going to be fairly narrow against the wall, and now it's not. Now it's out 5 feet. At the widest point, it's 5 feet from the wall, and it overhangs the entire lower deck there. So I'll take you up and show you later here in a little bit.
How will you reach the back?
Do what now?
How will you reach the back of it?
Oh, I've got the topside creeper, and I'll show you that. It's up there.
Yeah, but like, I mean, are you going to pull it out if you derail on the backside? Like, I mean,
no, I will probably get something I can reach back there with and grab a train or something if something derails.
Gotcha.
Hopefully I won't be derailing anything. That's that's the plan anyway, is to get it so you have that. But excuse me.
Who's Dennis's question for? Can you reach all the rail?
1 minute, let me catch up here.
What? For me, I'll be able to. Mine's only going to be a shelf layout, maybe 20 inches deep, 18 inches deep.
Yeah, I won't be able to reach it from standing on the floor. I won't be able to reach all of it. But if I got up on a short stool, I could probably reach the back. I also have access to two sides. Like I say, I'll show you that here in a little bit. I'll run up there and we'll look at it. But most of what's on the back, the furthest away, is storage track. So there's not going to be a lot of stuff moving right there that I can't get to.
Right. Good morning, Digger.
I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, morning, Digger. Anyway, after I'll choke to death. What else? What other questions we got? I'm sure we got something on here somebody wanting to know.
Yeah, guys, we need to fill some time.
Well, Dennis is trying. He's asking all these questions. Can I reach all the rail? No, I can't reach all the rail in the mountain unless I get inside the mountain. So, which I don't want to do very much because it's not fun getting in and out of there. Not anymore. Now, a kid would have a real easy time getting in and out of there, but old man like me doesn't.
Nathan has a question.
Are you gonna? Okay, yeah, I see it here.
Going to run trains on the shelf layout, or is it going to be operations, or both? I'm going to run trains. I don't know. Operations. Isn't operations running trains too? I mean, I don't know.
I always thought it was, but
Just
I think he meant formal operations.
No former, nothing.
Well, it's the same way with me. I don't plan on doing that. I mean, I'll do it as far as myself, but I'm not going to have car cards and all that mess.
No car cards, no bills. No.
I'll rarely have anybody over here running them with me, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Once the top is done, will you be able to reach under it to get to the back on the lower deck? Yeah, that I will be able to do. There again, there's not going to be much back there that I'll have to get to. There's only one track back there, and it runs through the pavement by the flats against the wall. So there won't be a lot back there that I have to get to. And then, well, when I get up there, I'll show it to you.
Right.
It's it's kind of hard to explain without you seeing it, because the shape of the upper deck is kind of a pie shape. So it's
I don't know. I get this sense that because people build model railroads and their room is so big, right, that they feel like they got to use the whole room. Is that the case?
For me, yeah, I kind of grew into that. I don't have a lot of room, so it wasn't like I was building something like Dennis has, because the room Dennis has is, 5 times what I have,
right?
Space-wise. Mark Pruitt's got a basement that's huge too. People like that, yeah, they've filled it up, but they're able to do the long runs in between. Yeah. I don't have a lot of long run sections. And most of mine is all, scene here, and you're just going from scene to scene, basically.
Yeah.
Except for climbing the mountain.
But you can continuously run your trains, right?
I can on the standard gauge, because it's a loop to loop, and the 2 loops are stacked on top of each other, and then they go back around the room. And that one I can run continuously. The narrow gauge is point to point.
Oh, okay.
The narrow gauge has got the yard at the bottom. Then it goes up the mountain, comes out the top of the mountain, and it wise off both ways. One goes to the mining district, and one goes to the town of Timberline.
So you can't leave it unattended, really.
No. The narrow gauge you can't. The narrow gauge you need to do, which was my intent.
Right.
And I made the standard gauge so I could just turn it on and let it run, which I can do, because it's on a loop to loop, and the switches on each end of the loops are automatic, right, similar to a spring switch. So I can turn it on and let it run.
Daniel Banks is building a new building just to house his layout. Yeah, I mean, if that's your case, you triple deck, man, that's a lot of work. I mean,
It is.
it's a lot of work. I mean, I look at Sparky's layout. Sparky's layout's pretty awesome, but man, I just see all the work that goes with that thing, man.
Well,
It's
it's all about what you want to do with the hobby.
I guess.
Um, you know, some people want to do a lot with the hobby. That's the main thing they do. I mean, look at Bill. When he gets done with something, he goes right to something else and starts building.
Yeah, yeah,
Or goes back to one of his other ones and does some more stuff to it.
yeah.
But that's your main hobby. Now, me personally, that's my main hobby, but I like to do other stuff. I play golf.
I guess, I kind of look at it like, man, it's like so overwhelming. There's like, I want it to be done, right? So I get this sense of anxiety and stuff that it's not done, you know? And I know it doesn't have to be done. It's never done, but I'm just a person that, for the most part, when I build something, it's finished and done, you know. And it's like,
Yeah. Oh, I understand what you're saying.
it's
But you have to know going into something like a model railroad,
yeah,
it's not something you
yeah,
go in a Saturday and you build it and it's finished.
yeah.
Even guys that have worked on a model railroad for 10, 15, 20 years, they'll usually tell you it's not finished because
Yeah,
there's
but look
always
at
something you could be doing to it.
Bill finishes his pretty fast.
Well, even Bill, I'm sure Bill would say he's not really done with it. I know
Yeah,
he's not done with the O scale.
right.
He's said that many times. You're always going to be adding something or maybe changing something that's not, or fixing something. There's always something that you're going to be doing on it, most likely. Um, but you have to go into it knowing that, I would think, or you're really going to be, disappointed because, oh, there I go again. I don't know why my phone's been doing that. If it'll flip, there we go.
Yeah, I mean, it does, Dennis. Dennis, there's a lot of questions. I'm missing a lot of chat. Um, uh, but yeah, I get it. Just, yeah, Michael McCarver, Model for the Chicks. How's
Model
that
for the
work?
chicks. I don't know if I want to pursue that question or not.
I mean,
Uh,
he's got a good looking wife, so it's working for him.
I don't know too many chicks that like trains. There's a few.
You know what? I think there's more now. I don't know why. I think there's more now than like there was like 30 years ago, 20 years ago. I don't know. Like I look at the video at Amherst and there's like clubs with women, just women, and like
That's cool. Yeah.
I
There's
mean,
nothing wrong with it. That's for
no,
sure.
no, I don't think
It's
there's
just
anything
that,
at
yeah.
all wrong with it. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, you know, I just, yeah, it's just like I think there's more now, unless there always was, and just they weren't spotlighted, they weren't highlighted, weren't talked about. I don't know. I don't really know.
It
Steve
says,
Arnold.
do I want to be part of the Great Model Railroad Challenge TV show in England? The one you and a team have to build for? No, I would not do that. Um,
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
that's not something I like about the hobby. I'd like to be able to go up when I feel like it and work on it or run trains or whatever. And then when I'm done with that, I can turn the lights off and come downstairs and, you know, I don't like to have a deadline. Um, I did tell my wife I was going to have this upper deck on here by Christmas, which I didn't quite make, but I don't like setting the deadlines because then I tend to do stuff too fast and not like I need to. I
You
have
know,
that problem anyway because I have a problem of putting something in, and then going to the next thing and not getting this thing like it needs to be before I move on.
Yeah.
And then I have to go back and do something with it. So
It's,
I've already got that problem. I don't want to be on a TV show that does that.
I guess for me, what makes it really hard is there's so many good modelers out there,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I mean, there's so many, and YouTube has brought them to our doorsteps, right? And from, it's like I do at least start comparing me to them, and I'm like, oh man, like it's so much work. It's like, got to embellish, got to do scenery. I know I shouldn't.
Use somebody else's layout as
Yeah,
inspiration.
yeah,
Don't use it as a measuring stick, because you can look at somebody's layout that you think is fantastic, and I guarantee you there's somebody who does a better job than that. And they would think theirs isn't good enough. So you can't do that. You got to just use it as inspiration for something you might want to do.
yeah. Dennis, what was that question for? Who's that to? Me? Why does that make it hard? Who's that to? It's hard to
I'm
follow.
behind here. And pressure of a deadline, something developed a project goal and give myself something.
I can't stand deadline pressure. Can't stand it.
Yeah. McCarville must be drinking this morning. I don't no. You don't want to see this in a Speedo, trust me.
Dennis's question is right below that one.
Why does that make it hard? Who's that to, Dennis?
No. Now he says, no, enjoy what you do.
The good modelers. Would not make it hard. I'm not sure what he's
hard. I don't know. They don't make it. They make it hard because I make it hard on myself. Like it's like,
yeah.
I compare all you guys. Dennis, you, and like I'm like, geez, man, I should get the shit out of Cheyenne and get going.
Well, if you're, it was like when I was flying model airplanes, building and flying model airplanes. You have a section of guys that go to a show in Florida every year. They're invited to a show called Top Gun, and they have to be within 10%. Paint, color, everything has to be within 10% of what the real aircraft was. And I don't want to do that. That to me is not. Now, some people like that. And the guys that do it, man, the models are fantastic. They're great pilots. But
right.
I always built for myself. It was supposed to be my hobby that I did for me and what I'd like to do in my spare time. And the train's not any different. If I start building for somebody else on that, then it becomes a job and not a hobby. And that's one reason I got out of building airplanes, because the last 3 I built were for other people.
Right. Steve is here. I said hi to you, Steve.
I don't care if Steve's here. He's fired. Huh? He's fired. He's fired. Chuck says he has a bunch of magic water now. Where did you find it, Chuck? Because it's not being made anymore, as far as I know, unless somebody picked it up.
What's magic water?
It's what I used on my layout for doing the ponds and the rivers and stuff. It's to make water on a model. Yeah.
Why did they stop making it?
The guy that made it, I guess, originally passed away here about a year ago. And so it's been hard to find.
So like the secret ingredients are with them.
Yeah, well, you got to have somebody's got to buy the thing, or at least pick up on what he was doing and carry on, or it doesn't get made. It doesn't make itself. So
yeah, what sets that apart from all the other stuff out there?
I just like the way it worked. I haven't tried all the other stuff, but it's basically like an epoxy resin. But I like the finished product real well, because you don't leave fingerprints in it. It gets to a point where almost indestructible, so to speak. If you take a paintbrush with it and paint it on rocks, they'll look like they're wet, like you'd see under a waterfall or something. And I'm sure you can do that with epoxy resin too. But I've worked with epoxy resin in other things, and it's not, something that's real easy to use. Plus, you have to watch about breathing in the vapors and all that good fun stuff. Where this stuff is not, at least in my experience, was not like that.
Wow. Path Valley came in. Hi, Path Valley.
Oh, Steve. Yeah. The dogs still like you too. That's why they got you up. He got lucky and hit eBay at the right time. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I found some at a hobby shop and bought some. I still have some, but I'm not going to need much more of mine. But I knew I was going to need more than I had, so I scrambled around and found some before it went away.
Steve said his bus broke down yesterday. That stinks.
Yeah,
So what they do?
He's trying to kill himself is what he's doing.
What they do, Steve? Come and tow you away?
And he would have had to have a tow. Well, here's what Daniel uses for water. Mod Podge can be used, I've seen all kinds of stuff used for doing water.
Yeah.
And waves and everything.
Yeah, water's cool, but it's a lot of work.
Sure.
No water on my layout.
I think you're right, Roy. I think it was the short bus he was on. Oh yeah, that's true, Daniel. That's the other nice thing I like about the Magic Water. You can put it on foam, plaster, doesn't matter. It's not gonna do anything. The only thing you have to do if you're gonna do a pond is it has to be watertight wherever you're putting that, because when you mix it up and pour it in, it's thicker than water, but it runs like water. So if it sits there, it'll find a hole and run through.
So it's a two-part thing?
Yeah, it's a two-part mix. And you put it in and you can tint it. You can put a tint in it.
It's not an epoxy or anything like that.
No, it's similar to that, but it's not a, I don't know what they actually called it. It's not like an epoxy resin. It's different than that, because epoxy resins, I know sometimes they get like rock hard. This doesn't get rock hard. You can push your finger and feel the sponge on it, but when you pick your finger up, it's not going to leave a print there.
Roy says use polyurethane for water.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what it is. I've got a box of it up there. Maybe I'll look on there and see if it says what it is. But it is nice to use. But for doing the sealing a spot, like if you're going to do a pond or a lake or something, what I did was mixed up a small batch, take a paintbrush and coat the entire surface and let that dry overnight, then come back in and pour your thicker layer in there. And that way it doesn't run through. That tends to seal all the holes and everything else.
Delmarva Railfan has a question. Hey, Jeff. No, and no.
Yeah, Shannon had that same problem. Yeah, you got to be careful. If you're using an epoxy resin, especially, because a lot of it will eat through pink foam.
Yeah.
Well,
no water on my layout, Jeffrey.
Let me get this thing.
I mean, it'd be cool, but yeah, I just don't see it.
Well, that's an ugly picture. Okay. And I'll take you upstairs and show you this stuff right quick.
Chuck, prior to your surgery, have you been doing anything to your layout? Yeah, I haven't seen much layout videos from you. It's been a while.
Okay. Okay, so here's the main yard down here, and I got junk laying all over it because I'm been working. But see, I can reach back in here pretty easy, and then the end of it's open also, so it's still able to get into it. And then up here, see, it's 5 foot from the back wall here, but it's not all that hard to reach. See, I can almost reach the wall from here.
Okay.
So there shouldn't be too much that I have to deal with there, but I got it put up on the angle iron with the rods going up through the ceiling, 2 of them, and holds the weight of it's not that heavy.
You'll be able to reach that.
Yeah. Seeing over here, it gets a lot narrower, so I can reach the wall here easily. But I got it tied in yesterday. Drove a train over the bridge and up here, and was checking out some of this.
Yeah, it looks good.
But I got to get up and clean it real good, and do some minor things to it on the track. I had a few places where the adhesive came loose, so I'll have to redo that. Then I'll start getting ground cover on it and putting the buildings and stuff that I've got. So almost all buildings are already built up here, so that'll go pretty quick. This is the brewery that will sit. Get it over here. The brewery's going to sit right here. And of course, it's all lit. It's a nice building when I get the lights on it. That's what all the wires are. Then this side will be a little parking lot. And I'll have probably a church and some other stuff over here in the street coming through and going up the other end. But this, see, I can get from this end too and reach quite a ways in. So there's not too much that I can't reach from the floor. And then if I get on the top side creeper, which is that little thing right there.
Yeah, you can reach everything.
I can reach over, yeah. And the reason it's so hard to move around is because of the legs on it, the base on it. But that makes it stable. You know, I'm 250 pounds and I can get up there and not worry about it moving or falling. So, but see, this is one end, one point, and it comes around to the Y on the mountain to right here. And then the other side goes around to the mining district. And then my loop to loop, this is the top loop of the standard gauge. The bottom loop is under here. You can't see it. And it just loops around, goes all the way around the outside wall, through the yard and back around to this loop.
Standard gauge is just regular HO?
Regular HO, yeah.
Okay.
And then see, this is the narrow gauge here.
Right.
Yeah. And then this is standard gauge. You can see the difference.
Gotcha.
Yeah. This would be 3 foot between the rails. This is the 4 foot 8.5 inches. But that's what I've been doing. And
use that magic water stuff for your waterfall there?
Yeah. Okay. Now this part of the waterfall is silicone. Actually, I take it back. This is Woodland Scenics. I don't know what they called it. Water. It's the one that you can make a waterfall with.
Okay.
But you see how it looks shiny here?
Good. Yeah.
That's that magic water just painted on. Now I get this kind of look. That's dryer sheet that I used that I pulled apart. Really? That fibrous dryer sheet, and it looks like water spray.
Yeah.
And that's what I use there, and it comes all the way down here. But here I can paint. See how these rocks look really wet? So it looks like there's moisture there all the time. That's one thing you can do. One of the things they talked about on the box, I think it's here. I'm just going to pull the box up and show it to you. Well, I don't know what I did with it. I don't see it here. Anyway, one of the things they said was, like, if you had a car wash, you could have a little scene of a car wash and paint the water down on the pavement, you know, put it on your pavement and make it look like it's wet concrete or wet asphalt, whatever.
Right.
Anyway, so that's what I've been doing. There's the last backdrop. I still got to put the valances in and lighting under here. Got a lot of work left to do, but this is all the track work now. So I'm not putting any more track in. No planned track going in.
I don't see where you could put it.
No, there's not much room. It's about 13 feet to that wall. And then if I'm up against this wall, going back that way, it's 17 feet. But then at the corner of the corner comes in right here.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd room, right? It's the attic,
this is an L shape, and of course I didn't use the whole room. There's part of my staging back there, and then got storage and stuff over here on this side. So I didn't use the entire room, but I used most of what I had. You can see my aisles aren't real wide.
You have a lift up bridge?
Yes. Yes, this is how I get in.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Pivots in the middle.
Yeah.
How does it pivot?
Well, what I did was let me get on the side where the light is shining a little better.
Oh, no, I see how it pivots. Okay.
Yeah, I just use angle brackets. And what you discover is you have to pivot in.
Right.
You have to bring your pivot point this way. Otherwise, this will bind up on your track when you go to lift it. So you have to have it here so that this drops down. This side drops down when this is coming up.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that way it breaks away and up you come. And that's all, was all homemade. Kind of made it on the fly. Here you can see the angle bracket a little better. And then I just have a rod going through. And it works real well. The orange strap is just to keep it from coming open too far.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But it's even got, tortoises in here. That's why it's so thick, because I've got tortoises in there. But works real well.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I've been doing. I just don't get as much done as I'd like sometimes.
Yeah, you do when you can do stuff, right?
Yeah. There again, it's a hobby. You work on it when you feel like it. Because there's times when I don't work on it for a long time.
Container Man wants to see the game room.
No. He's seen it already.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't need to see it.
He's seen it already, except he hasn't seen my practice craps table I've got in there.
What's that?
Well, I practice craps on it. Because when we go cruising, I play craps. So I've got
craps.
Yeah.
Oh, like
dice. Dice.
Yeah. I thought you said crafts. Like practice crafts.
Craps. No. Do I have ARC games? No, we've got the game room has a game table in there, card table. Got darts in there. Got a pinball machine. Got shuffleboard table. And of course, got the crafts table. But that's the crafts table. The practice crafts table is temporary.
Is that a big table?
Say again.
Is it big?
It's 6 foot long. Is all.
That's pretty big.
It was strictly for me to practice strategies and stuff, betting strategies. And
strategies?
Stuff. Yeah.
Is there? Yeah.
Yeah, because the last cruise we went on, I won by playing in the casino. So you get so many points for however long you're playing, what kind of bets you're making, and that kind of stuff.
And
so
attribute that to your table.
Yeah, well, so the strategies, and if you're familiar with craps at all, you can lose a lot of money in a short time if you're not careful. So what you're doing is you're trying to kind of hedge, not so you win a lot of money, because that's not the point. If you're trying to get complimentary points for free cruise, right? all you're trying to do is gather points. You're not trying to gather money necessarily.
Yeah.
But you also don't want to lose it very fast. So that's what you're doing. A little bit of both. Anyway, that's beside the point.
Now, is there was that room off limits for your model railroad?
Yes. In fact, the room that the railroad's in was supposed to be the game room in the house plan, but it's a weird, as you saw, it's a weird shape, and we wanted to put a 14-foot shuffleboard table in, so you can't really put a 14-foot shuffleboard table in there because it'd stick out in the middle of the room, and it wouldn't be conducive to having a game room there. So we've got a big TV up there too, so we can go up there and watch, sports, football, whatever. The room that the game room is in now was supposed to be a theater room, with the big theater seats and all that mess. Well, we don't need that. We've got a big TV down here and the one up there for when we're up there, but we don't have a dedicated movie room. We just don't watch TV that way.
Do you have basement? No basement.
No basement. So instead we made that theater room our game room because it was more conducive. It's much more open. Anyway.
There's a lot going on over there in chat. I can't follow it.
Bernard, I don't know what the dimension of the room is. It's probably about 18 feet by 17 or 18 wide, but it's more square than the train room. The train room is not square. Show us the clowns. Oh, no, I'm not, Roy. I'm glad OU's going to the SEC. They go die right there in the SEC. I'm not an OU fan. Anyway, what else we got here, Jerry?
I don't know. There's a lot going on in chat. I can't keep up with it all.
Yeah, they move pretty fast, don't they?
Yeah.
I understand what I wanted to know what the gauge was. Path Valley wants to know what the gauge was of,
I guess, HON3. You
said
Brian? 10 millimeters, 10.5 millimeters.
Oh, they're talking about N scale. Yeah, he's talking about N scale, which I wouldn't know because I don't have N scale.
HON3?
HON3 is not N scale. HON3 is HO scale with narrow gauge track.
Oh.
And then you've got N scale, and they have N scale narrow gauge, which is the same scale but smaller or narrower track. Oh, thank you, Daniel. It's been an experience. I actually made it the layout. He's talking about my layout. I made the layout way too big, really. For me.
Your layout's too big?
Yeah, I made it bigger than I should have. But I didn't want to get to the point where it was so done I would never have anything to do on it, or running trains on it would get boring. So I tried to make something that wouldn't be boring in the short term. Does that make sense? Well, we got 15 minutes left. Let me see. Dennis Hush will get me in trouble, and Claude will ban me from coming back. I wouldn't ban you from coming back, Roy. Yeah, the shop would be a good layout room, and I considered that. I've got a shop that there again is kind of a long story about how that got there, but
right.
It's not as big as the train room that I've got now, but it could have been a little more dedicated. Although it's got some features, it's got a sink over in one corner and stuff, and a window on one side. It would have been a little tougher to get stuff in there. Plus, that's where all my tools were that I had to have when I was working. I could probably pull all that out now, but not going to happen. So,
Yeah. You're stuck with what you got.
yeah, pretty much. And it's not going to change much. So, in fact, Dennis is going to be tasked with coming and taking it all out, I think. Of course, if I give him all the stuff, it's contingent on him taking it out, taking the layout out. Has anyone ever been banned on this channel? I think we did early on, Mike. We had somebody coming in that was trolling, obviously trolling. No, it wasn't Jerry.
No, I was waving to Randall. Hi, Randall.
But but that's been, it was right after we started the channel. And I don't even remember who it was, but yeah, we kicked him off the chat. But we haven't had to do that. You guys have all been so good, so great. You come and watch the show and there's nothing to talk about.
It's always the first time.
And I look forward to it every week. I really enjoy this hour, even when we don't have anything to talk about or don't seem to have anything to talk about.
Yeah.
But
I didn't think we would have much to talk about today.
yeah, well, that's always the case, Jerry. We always end up running through the full hour, Yeah, Dennis got it right. We don't generate enough views to entice the trolls. Like I say, we had one or two early on and that we banned or kicked out. I'm not sure exactly how it happened, but I remember they were coming in and just trolling about something, and we kicked them out and haven't had that problem since, to my knowledge. Now, I've not been here every week, but I've been here most of the time, so
Right.
I haven't seen any.
Half Valley, do you model narrow gauge?
Let's see here. I just released it. What was this now? Toma just released an HOM 30 Ringling Lakes, Sandy River and Ringling Lakes. Huh. It's interesting that they came out with that, and not just using regular narrow gauge or 3-foot narrow gauge. But that's kind of like the HO or the OM30 stuff is all OM30 because of HO scale track. At least that's my perception of it. I can't imagine why they'd have 30-inch gauge when they could have done 3-foot gauge, except that they would have had to come up with, track for it. Okay.
Dennis had a question. I don't know, Dennis, but I know at Stroudsburg, their ash pit is separate from Wooder, and I don't know if they had sand. If they have sand there.
Yeah, I'm thinking, Dennis, that they didn't necessarily have water as far as for the tender. I was under the assumption that was usually where they just clean the ash pan out, dumped it out so that they could and haul it off, have a place to haul it off from. But I've never done any research on it. But I don't know that they had water and sand there. Now they could have, I guess, if the railroad that they had wanted to put it there, they could.
Yeah, I would think it would just depend on the railroad.
Could have, should have done that.
That doesn't matter.
Scare them. We'll scare everybody that way. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody else knows what would have gone on at the ash pit. I know in like Durango and Chama, I've never seen it there. I'm not sure where they do that, but I'm sure they do. They got to clean it out someplace.
Right.
But I've not seen them, but I've not gone around looking for it either.
Yeah. Do they do tours of that place, like the shops?
At Durango, yes.
Yeah.
In fact, they've got a museum in the roundhouse, so you can go in there and you can see where they're working on the stuff and everything. Durango Ash Pit is next to the sand and coal, probably about 50 feet away. I did a video for scratch building one. Next to sand and coal. Well, the coal I know in Durango is loaded, just like it is in Chama, it's loaded by a front end loader. They don't have a tower anymore there. They do in Chama. Chama still has the tower, but Durango doesn't. I would think it would just depend on the railroad as to what other services they had right there. But I wouldn't think they'd put water and coal necessarily where the ash pit is. I mean, that's just my thought. But
Yeah, you need a water spout on one of your tracks, Dennis. I don't think it matters.
yeah. Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing, Dennis. I'll have mine in two different spots. I'll have the coal and sand close together, and the water will be in a different spot. And then the ash pit for mine is over on a stub track off of the turntable. That's the way mine's going to be setting.
Yeah, like at Stroudsburg, their water's on their main track, and I think their ash pit is over by their service facility or something.
Yeah, I would think that's how they would do it.
Off the side.
Oh, he's talking about back before before they took a lot of that stuff out and put McDonald's in. That's the one unusual thing about Durango is you got the station right there, the original station, and 3 tracks over, there's McDonald's right next to the station, or right next to the tracks.
Yeah, maybe if that's what you want to do, Dennis, put your water by your ash pit. You don't want no fires to start.
Well, like I say, it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't have a hose and a spigot there.
Yeah,
but I don't know that they would have the tower right there.
Yeah, I don't think they would have anything there that would burn.
Yeah. That's why they have the concrete ash pit to dump that out in and let it cool so they can haul it off. Okay, here we go. Path Valley says East Broad Top had an ash pit on one of the turntable leads. That lead went right beside the sand house, and there was a water spout not far away. The only dock was on the other end of the yard. Yeah, like I say, you're going to find all kinds of arrangements of those facilities, I would think. And seeing my ash pit is, like I say, is off the turntable on a stub track off the turntable, but right next to the roundhouse.
Yeah, all these things you got to think about that are part of the railroad.
Oh yeah, when you're running steam, especially whether it's coal or oil, either one, it just steam. The boilers have to be inspected every so many hours. Completely inspected. In fact, a lot of times have to be torn down and overhauled. So there's that cost. I'm not sure how often a diesel engine has to be, overhauled, but my guess is it's a lot further in between than the steam boilers can go.
I guess that's one of the advantages if you just do industries on your layout and there's no, like, the trains, I don't know, go off the layout to do that sort of stuff. And you don't have to worry about that stuff.
Oh yeah. If that's not something that you want to model, don't model it. That's there again. It's a hobby, and you put on it what you want to put on it. That's one reason I didn't go full prototype. I didn't want to be tied into having to have certain things on there. I wanted to be able to put on there what I wanted to put on there. but that, and that's just me. Some guys love to do the full prototype, and I've seen those layouts and they look great, but that's not what I wanted to do. So I didn't do that.
So the town that this area that Dennis is talking about, is there no pictures of the railroad then?
Oh, yes. He doesn't have any proof, so evidently he doesn't have any pictures of it. I would think they'd have water and coal, together. Water, coal, and sand more so together than, say, the ash pit. There again, I don't know what services you have to do that encompasses the ash pit, how often that has to be done. I could be way off on my thinking on that, but I've never looked into it. I've got plenty of books here. I ought to be looking into that. I have to do that. Dave Todd's here. Good morning, Dave. When we first started railroading in 73, diesels have to have a monthly inspection. Last I knew, it was extended to 90 days between inspections.
Hi, Dave.
Yeah, that makes sense. But that's inspection. That's not an actual overhaul, right? Because I know steam engines have to have a complete overhaul every so many hours.
Yeah.
I don't remember what that is, but it's every so many hours.
1,472.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I know they put them in, they'll have one in the shop being overhauled while the others work, and then they'll bring another one in and overhaul it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Okay, now what's Mike say? It would be more efficient, but often engines would fill with water, so having it closer to the main is more efficient. Other services need less often. So yeah, this is true too. And I saw Mike said something too about having a lot more water towers than anything else, and that's true. You would go through water.
See you, Chuck. Take care. Hope you feel better.
Oh, yeah. Nurses there. Be careful, Chuck. Good to see you, Chuck. Have a good one. Hope you heal quickly.
Yeah.
Well, we're about out of time anyway here. We got time for a couple more questions or comments. Delmarva, real fan.
That's Jeff.
Steam engine get inspected, basically and get overhauled. Well, that's kind of what I always assume too. Yeah. I mean, I know they kind of get inspected by the crews when they fire them up. They go and oil everything and all that kind of stuff, but that's not really a full-blown inspection.
No.
Like an overhaul would be. What I'm talking about is when they pull the tubes out of the boilers and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
All kinds of checks, and yeah, it's a pretty complicated thing.
And Dave said to his knowledge, 10 to 20 years before rebuilding, that would be a diesel. Yeah. That sounds about right to me. Unless they have a problem with it, I wouldn't think they would do a full overhaul on a diesel engine. One of my dogs is telling me it's time to come in there.
Hey. See you, Randy. Bacon, always bacon. Michael McCarville, bacon or sausage with eggs? Bacon.
Sausage. I'll take either one, but I normally get sausage.
Bacon.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, that's our hour. Thanks for being here. And hopefully we'll have more of the crew back next week. Bill won't be here for a couple more weeks, but hopefully we get Dennis and Steve gets better and comes back. If he will, he may not want to come back now. Sure. But anyway, yeah, Steve, hope you get feeling better, bud.
Yeah.
And Jerry, thanks for being here.
Thanks for
trudging through with me.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next week. Have a good weekend and a good week. We'll see you later. Somewhere.
Take care.